Right, we're going to try this again for a second time. It may work this time, it may not. So just to recap, I haven't put the title to this one or anything because every time I write it, then it doesn't work. Then I've got to rewrite it again, and it's a pain to write when it's all on the tripod and stuff and all set up. So this is another edition of Quiz Your Biz, and because I'm getting so popular with so many requests, we are booked up until the end of August now. All but one space. So I decided to do a mini version as well. So this one will be about 20 minutes long. If I can get Daron to actually join the call and add on, then this will be a mini edition of Quiz Your Biz. Hey Gemma. So let's see if it will actually let me add him now. Bring him on camera. It says adding. That's more than it did before. So hopefully, Daron, that should be adding you now. A little drum roll going on here. Yeah, so anyway, there will be now mini editions of Quiz Your Biz for like 15-20 minutes. If it decides to ever work, where sometime during the week I might do little ones of what I normally do every Friday as well. Then again, it might just be frozen on. Oh, hey! Always a relief when it does actually work. Hey!
Rather than using my iPad, Dan, I've decided to go for my iPhone. So, and it was asking us with the phone and do also. We have had to do the hokey cokey around the room to actually get it to work, mate.
Twice.
But we got there in the end. Thank you for inviting us and taking a bit of time out of your day to have a chat with us, mate. So
yeah. No, you're very welcome. As I've just said, we've got about 20 minutes, and then I've got a dash. So we're squeezing as much as we can. Daron, obviously, most of the group knows you, and you post quite a lot. And this is John, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, that's me.
Hi, John. So, guys, tell me what you guys do.
Yeah,
well, we are Assured Bricks. Basically, we're sort of a middleman, helping people get their projects off the ground and built. With regards to extensions or house renovations, we try and cut out the cowboy builders or the customers that just don't want to pay. We basically are engaged by the customer who wants the extension or house renovations done. We'll create a contract between the customer and the builder. We will check everyone's paperwork, make sure the customer can afford the job, make sure the builder is capable of doing the job, and then we oversee the payments to the builder, making sure that he only gets what he's earned. Gets paid for what he's done, completed to a satisfactory conclusion. Making sure the customer doesn't get ripped off. So everyone's happy at the end of the day.
Cool. So let me see if I understand it, because then if I understand it, then everyone else might understand it. So if somebody wanted to get a new conservatory built, they would find a builder, and then they come to you guys. Or come to Assured Bricks even, and they would say, we want to get this conservatory done, it's going to cost 15 grand or whatever, and then the customer would pay you guys, and so then when the work was completed, then the builder would get a tick in the box if it was good enough, and then the builder would get paid, and the customer would be happy because they know that it was going and it was to be done properly. Is that?
That's more or less along the lines. What I would say is that the build is split up into separate sections, and we would only hold the money which the builder was on with that particular section. So if the build was split up into 8 slices, we'd hold 2 slices of the money. The first one, so that the builder can do the work and he knows that the money's there, and then when he's finished that particular portion of the work, he knows the money's there for the next portion, so there's no delay in the build. Basically, the customer then okays payment to the builder. They obviously sign off the work, and the builder gets paid. The customer would then give us the 3rd slice, and it would go on like that until the end of the build, basically.
Sure. Is there anything else out there like this?
Do you know what? When John first came up with this concept last year, we did a lot of research to establish what was already in their marketplace. And at the time, there wasn't. We have found there is a similar organisation based down south somewhere, which kind of is similar, but not necessarily to the depth that we've got. They don't do contracts. There's an expectation that the builder transaction still goes on between the builder. It is slightly more complicated than what we tried to do is simplify the process. So the idea being is that you're having an extension done or a conservatory down. We've already decided on your build, so we're not involved in you determining what builder you're going to choose. There's some other organisation, Checkatrade, etc., that kind of, does those sort of assurances. But what we do is sit down with yourself and the builder, and we structure the contract so that it's staged in terms of what job happens when. And let's say it's a £20,000 build, then that money is split accordingly depending on what funds needs to happen for each of the build areas. So the idea being that we're actually protecting and ensuring the interests of the homeowner. We're also doing exactly the same for the builder, because there's a lot of builders out there that do get ripped off. They do a big project, and at the end of the day, the customer turns around and says, well, I'm not happy with this element, therefore you can bog off, you're not getting your money. But to be fair, the majority of the cases tends to be with your cowboy builders, because obviously there's a tendency to turn up and say, well, I need 10 grand of your money. And this money's handed over generally on a handshake, because people trust the thing.
Very few people get a contract. And that is the one main thing that we do. So if things did go wrong, I don't know how they'd go wrong, but if they did go wrong, there's a fallback position with regards to taking the builder to court. And obviously, we check out the builder, make sure they're capable of doing the job, and they have the correct references. As we do with the customer, we would effectively make sure that they can afford to pay for the job.
Yeah, so we check they've actually got the money there, and there's some assurances, they're not going to set up upon this journey having a 20, 40, 50 grand build done with no money in the pot, and the hope that maybe they were going to get that via different funds, and it doesn't happen, so the builder's out of pocket in that situation. But the majority of the people we work with tend to be those that have concerns over cowboy builders, because the market and the loss to the marketplace is, I think it's over 10 billion.
It's 10 billion per year is lost to cowboy builders.
Yeah, okay, so we've got a couple of questions there from Jason Fletcher while we've been speaking. He wants to know, what's your background? Are you a builder? And then to follow that, are you saying the builder works for you guys? What would stop the builder from just going direct to the customer? He's a builder himself, Jason.
The builder can go direct to the customer, but the builder then can't be assured that the money is sat in a secure account waiting to be paid over to him. Once the money is paid to us, the builder is informed that the money is waiting, and he will then get paid once he's completed whatever needs doing. What was the other?
Your background.
Oh, my background, sorry, yes. I've done a lot of building work. Currently, we do a lot of bathrooms, kitchens.
So you're a builder, John?
I am a builder, yeah, but we've done projects projects from bathrooms to converting hotels into blocks of flats. So I've got quite a big background in building and property in general.
Okay, so would
my background is commercial and business development, so I don't think I could put a kitchen up to save my life, to be fair.
So I think there's another question there. I'm just coming down. So the next question is: are you a qualified project manager? Jason's asked.
Right, we're not project managers. We are not there to project manage the build. We are there solely to make sure that the customer gets the job that they are paying for, and that the builder gets the money at the end of the day that they have earned. With regards to the split on the build and the money, that is generally run along the lines of building regs. So if they were doing an extension, you might have the first payment when footings are dug out, then when they're in, then when they're up to DPC, then once you're up to roof line, once the roof's on. It runs along those lines, and not only would we check with the customer that the building, the work has been done, but we would check with the building controller as well.
Sure.
So go on. We're actually managing the transactional aspect of it, as opposed to the project.
Sure. So I guess my question would be, if I was having the work done, I'm not a builder. I don't know anything about footings. I don't know if a wall's up to scratch. If it's down to me to say if it's good enough, I wouldn't know. So would I get a surveyor in to check it out then?
This is why building regs are involved, to make sure that these things are done to a certain degree of competency, shall we say. And as long as they tick them off, then generally the customer should be happy with it.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, Jason said, okay, thank you for answering there as well. Any other questions, please ask as we go along. So what sort of cost would there be to the customer, to the builder, or both?
So cost-wise, basically the customer would be the one engaging us as a company. We charge a set fee up to a build cost of 40,000. So if you're having an extension of say £40,000, the cost will be £300 for creating a contract and going through, check everybody is doing what they're going to do, saying what they're saying they're going to do, and we also charge a fee per transaction. So each time the builder gets paid, the customer also has to pay a fee. So roughly that works out at 0.75% of the build cost. So a £200,000 build would cost somewhere in the region of £1,500, which, as I'm sure you can appreciate, for peace of mind and to make sure everything runs smoothly, is not a out of the way humongous cost. Really, it's, I think when we've talked to people, they think it's quite reasonable.
Yeah, so I mean that's 0.75%, and I guess then that gives everyone peace of mind to make sure that the money's going to be where you expect it to be, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So Jason's just asked, have you had any reviews for what you're doing so far? Maybe you can tell us a bit more of the history of the company.
Yeah, in terms of the history, we've been trading now about 3-4 months. About 3 or 4 months, so we're still early days of it. And a lot of the work has generally been into market awareness, because what we find ourselves in the situation is that people are obviously searching for things like builders to do the actual work, but we're not known in the marketplace, and we don't have deep pockets. We don't have like 100 grand that we can spill onto, some sort of massive marketing campaign. So we are doing a lot of word of mouth stuff at the moment. So the idea is that we're trying to gain awareness out there into the marketplace. So look, we actually exist. You should be engaging us at the point where you are starting to think about the building, you're putting your finances aside to do this, and then we can get everything from the financial perspective in place. So we're still fledgling business in that respect. So, yeah.
Okay, is there any kind of minimum or maximum on the amounts you can look at?
Not really, no.
Not really. I suppose the majority of builds for an extension are going to be in excess of 15, maybe 20 grand for a minimum sort of thing, but it could be anything really. We could go up to any amount. In reality, it just depends what someone's building. We could do a whole new build, so you could technically have a whole house built with us helping control the finances on it and making sure that it's all well and good.
Yeah, well, anybody that's putting a shed up is probably not our marketplace, to be fair.
And is it not like... Sorry?
Depends how big the shed is.
Yeah. Is it not like insurance policies people could get to do the equivalent of this?
Well, I suppose we haven't looked at the insurance policies. I had a friend of mine who's a legal expert, and when we were talking about this and we were looking at the legal aspect sides of what sort of account we need in place and everything else, he was saying there isn't anything in the marketplace that even insures against loss due to cowboy builders. I think we're actually a member of a couple of cowboy builder groups on Facebook, which we're quite active in, and obviously we're in there from an awareness perspective, much anything else, because obviously the horse is bolted by this stage. But the biggest problem people have is trying to obviously find the builders and get the money back, because the builder can change the name, they can go from being a director of one limited company to the next and next and the next. So we haven't found any insurance policies that are actually going to guarantee, let's say, £40,000 on a build. They're not going to underwrite that against the builder basically legging it. We haven't found that. I think come across anything
also
like that.
In reality, majority of people don't do any sort of checks on the builder. They won't get a passport, you know, a photocopy of their passport, or, you know, even their full address. You know, you talk to people and it's a bit of a nightmare. They're having a bit of a nightmare, and they just have no details. You know, and that is one thing that we also, you know, is also part of the contract. We make sure that the builder does hand over all his details.
Yeah, we know who he is, where he's from. Yeah. And to be fair, what tends to happen, Dan, is the builders that work with the homeowners on these schemes are happy to do so because they've got nothing to hide. And this is where the filtering process takes over, because if you're the kind of guy that's just going to shake your hand and disappear with your 10 grand deposit, you're not going to sign up to a contract that tells you you're going to get your stage payments depending on build quality and everything else. So that's the area where the filtering process, that's the added value. Even if there was an insurance policy out there, you know, you still no guarantees that the builder's still going to win if he runs off with your money, and then you're in litigation to try and get it back anyway. So yeah. So we think we've kind of covered all the bases.
Oh, great. Just a couple more comments there. So Rachel said, "Get off her hat," and I'm not getting off her hat. I'm keeping it on. So that's comment one. Comment two was again from Jason. If I was a customer, I'd go directly with a project manager. Why would people use your services? So just a couple of minutes left. You can wrap that one up, please.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, well, a project manager is going to cost you 10% of your build probably, which is a heck of a lot more money. You know. That's it basically. We're a cheaper option, and you know your money's going to be safe.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You know, if you're doing, I usually use Dan as an example. You're doing extension, it's £20,000, etc. We take 2 of the first stages as initial payment. That doesn't come into our business accounts. It's not sat in an area where we can get our hands on it. They actually go into a trust account within the bank system that we have within our business, which basically means it's not like we can dip into that money anyway. So you have those additional assurance that the money is protected. And I'm not sure a project manager actually manages the financial aspects of it. It might have that in some sort of terms of work for the actual build.
Also, would a project manager take on, you know, smaller builds, £20,000-30,000 builds? I think generally the project management of those sort of builds are left to the builders.
Sure. I mean, I can imagine Jason might have, being in the industry himself, he might have a few more questions. Is it best you can get in touch with one of you guys?
Yeah. Just have a hook up with myself or John.
Yeah,
we're group anyway.
Yeah. We're on Facebook.
Yeah. We've got nice funky flyers.
Sure. Very nice. Yeah, Jason, by all means, if you want to get in touch with these guys, I expect you being an industry expert yourself, you may well know a few more things or have a few more questions that you could put to them. Certainly, I think for most people, it sounds like to me, it sounds like a really good service and something that isn't out there at the moment. So that's great.
Great stuff.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna need to make a move, but no, really great to talk to you guys, and yeah, thanks for coming on, and yeah, good evening. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Cheers, mate.